Dreams. The often bizarre and confusing phenomenon that affects all of us. Are dreams just simply a random offshoot of the unconscious, or do they point to something deeper in our nature as individuals? Just a quick reminder to like and subscribe as it helps the channel greatly. Now, back to the video. Ever since I was young, I have had intense and vivid dreams. Some have stayed with me since childhood, others have vanished into the ether. As my interest in psychology developed, I became increasingly curious about the nature of dreams. This in turn led to many years studying the psychology of dreams and a career in dream analysis. The Swiss psychologist Carl Jung worked with thousands of dreams from his clients and came to the conclusion that dreams were actually part of the psyche's regulatory function. He noticed that individuals who had a particularly strong and one-sided perspective in their waking life were often presented with dreams directly challenging this perspective. This he came to understand as a form of unconscious compensation. This was not only observed directly within the psychology of his patients in their respective dreams, but it also tracked with many natural physiological processes of compensation. For example, homeostasis is the process of the body adapting to conditions in order to survive. If an individual finds themselves in extremely cold environments, the body will begin shivering in an attempt to generate heat through muscular activity. If they are in excessive heat, the body will perspire in order to cool down through evaporation. Another example is neuroplasticity, in which the brain can develop new neural connections as an attempt to reorganize itself. This happens in the case of injuries. If parts of the brain are damaged, new neural connections will be made as a way for other parts of the brain to compensate for the damaged areas. Jung observed that the psyche seemed to operate in much the same way. It made sense, being that the psyche, like the body, is simply another aspect of nature and a natural phenomenon. So how does the psyche compensate psychological imbalances within dreams? Well, if an individual has a particularly strong dislike of a person in their waking life, this disliked person will often appear in their dream in a surprisingly positive way. So what is happening here exactly? Well, of course, each dream and its implications vary from person to person, but there are undoubtedly reoccurring universal patterns. Typically, when a disliked person in waking life appears positively in an individual's dream, it is a classic case of psychological compensation. The psyche is trying to maintain equilibrium when one's conscious perspective is imbalanced. So why would it be a problem if someone heavily dislikes another person they know? After all, sometimes we just don't like people. While this might be true, if they appear in the dream in a new light, there is an immediate indication that something is off balance, hence the psyche's natural attempt to compensate. To explore this, one would ask the dreamer for their associations around this person. Now, it could be that they hold a resentment against them for something they did, but surprisingly, the emotions attached to this person are often far more symbolic. In exploring the dreamer's associations to the disliked figure, what will often emerge is particular traits they don't like about them. The reason this is crucial to identify is that often these are actually traits lurking in the unconscious psyche of the dreamer themselves that they cannot accept. This, in essence, is the projection of their shadow onto the other person. The archetype of the shadow being the repressed and feared parts of the individual's psyche. Therefore, the dream presents this person who is actually a symbol of their own feared and disliked qualities in an appealing way. This is the psyche's attempt to get the conscious part of the individual to integrate that which they are denying and rejecting in themselves, lurking in the unconscious. This is actually essential because the longer one denies parts of their own nature, the more afflicted by them they will be in their life. It's the Jungian notion of that which you resist persists. To expand upon this, let's say an individual, we'll call him John, can't stand his co-worker, we'll call him James, because he thinks he is obnoxious and always pushing his opinions on others. The dream might present James in a heroic light. In the dream, John is trapped in a room panicking and James, of all people, frees him. Well, John most likely has a lot of opinions and thoughts that he never shares. Perhaps when he was young, he was shamed whenever he spoke up or expressed himself. So then this trait of being open and expressive became something that was deemed unacceptable and was banished to the unconscious. However, this is keeping John shut down in life. He is struggling to fully connect to people and realize his potential in his personal relationships and career. This unconscious repression is not only psychologically draining, but hindering his life. This internalized shame around expressing his opinion is being projected onto others who are able to do this freely. Therefore, the psyche is trying to compensate for this pattern to encourage John to address this imbalance and learn to integrate this into his conscious personality. While unconscious compensation comes up in dreams frequently, seemingly as a natural regulatory process, there are many other dimensions to dreams and still a lot of mystery surrounding them. However, this speaks to the profound utility of becoming more curious of one's dreams and what might be lurking in the depths of the unconscious. It is often surprising the treasures you might find in the most unexpected of places. What dreams have left an impact on you? Have you noticed any that have revealed surprising truths about your own nature or beliefs that you were previously unaware of? You've been watching Archetypal Wisdom. Remember to like and subscribe. Stay wise.